Prophet of thought.
We gotta stop this shit.
This is your X from the Prophet of Thought series, also known as the Frontistery. And once again, an election season is upon us. And you got these politicians, mainly Democratic politicians. They're in the southern part of the country. And what they're talking about more than anything else is the black vote. They're talking about what black people are going to do, how black people are going to turn out, how many black votes they can get, who can appeal to black people the most. And me, quite frankly, I'm so tired of hearing white people and some black people too talk about what black people are going to do. I mean, it's almost as if that black people have become the perpetual victim. I mean, you always hear people on TV talking about what black people need. They talk about black people who need housing. They talk about black people who need jobs. They talk about black people who need financial empowerment and economic empowerment and all that kind of stuff. And 9 times out of 10, the people who are talking about it, these people, they already have a house. They already have a job. They already have some type of economic, financial vehicle for their own selves. It's not that often that you see the person who's unemployed out there talking about they need a job. It's not that often that you see the person who's homeless talking about he needs a house. It's not often that you see the person who's broke and poor talking about they need to be lifted out of poverty. It's always somebody else doing it. And like I said, we have become, over the last 50 years, this perpetual victim. We are the people who are always crying out for help, and that's something that we need to stop doing. We need to stop crying out to politicians who don't give a damn about us until it's time for an election. We need to stop complaining to people who don't give a damn. We just need to stop it. I'm tired of listening to how black people need this and black people need that and black people are going to do this and black people are going to do that. I mean, we have spent the last 50 years being defined by other people, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about the problems that black people got. Yeah, I know. A lot of black people are broke. A lot of black people are homeless. A lot of black people are in jail. A lot of black people live in poverty. A lot of black people are unemployed. We know all of this stuff already. But what I want to know is, what the hell are you going to do about it? And mainly when I say, what are you going to do about it, I'm talking about us. I'm sick of people laying out the different problems and situations that black people face, okay? I'm sick of hearing that out. I'm sick of hearing it. What I want to hear is what people are going to do about it. I mean, we can sit around and point out problems all we want, but if we're not doing anything about it, what's the sense of pointing out the problems? I mean, I have been guilty of this myself in the past, pointing out the problems that black people have. And I've also been guilty of talking like others who say, oh, we need to uplift black people and we need to do this and do that. Well, we have been uplifting black people for 50 years. And what has it gotten us? 1 out of 5 of us are still living in poverty. 1 out of 50 of us are black men are still in jail or under some type of court supervision or law enforcement supervision. We still have nothing. We still 0.5% of all the financial wealth in this country. We're still more likely to be locked up than anyone else. We're 4 times as likely to be shot by the police as anyone else. That's why I say we constantly talk about, we know that black people are being shot down by the police. We know that black people are disenfranchised at every turn. We know that black people can't find any type of employment. We know that black people are being shut out of housing. We know about this, but what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? That's why I always tell people it's ridiculous to even ask why. Okay, it's ridiculous to ask why. Okay, it's ridiculous for a person who spent 40 years going in and out of prison ever since they were 16, and now that they're 56, they want to ask why they can't get a job. It's ridiculous for a person who has 10 babies and no husband to say, why am I poor? It's ridiculous for a young man who dropped out of school when he was 15 years old to say, why can I read the words on a job application? It's ridiculous for a woman who spent 30 years of her life whoring herself out and doing drugs and getting high, saying, why I don't have a man. What's the bigger question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I feel like this, and I will say this, and I don't care who don't like it. If you don't have a job and you can't get one, create one. If you got 4 babies and you already living below the poverty line, don't have any more. If you are uneducated, get an education. If you feel like you can't get an education, figure out what you gotta do to get an education or develop another skill. We can't continue to be asking other people to do things for us when we can start doing things for ourselves. Us as black people, we can't continue to be the perpetual victim. We can't be this monolithic group that people have to pander to because we are the handicapped child that can't lift themselves up out of poverty and oppression and police brutality. We can't do that anymore. We have been doing that for 50 years. And guess what? It has gone nowhere. It has gone absolutely nowhere. What we need to think about is, what are we going to do for ourselves? What are we going to do for ourselves? We need to stop listening to people who talk to us about how they're going to improve our substandard schools, because they're not. We need to stop listening to politicians telling us the things they're going to do to help us, because they're not. We need to stop listening to some black people who say what they're going to do, because they're not either. They're not either. The time has come for us to stop pandering to each other. And the time has also come for us to not let other people pander to us either. Each person individually need to make up in their own mind what they need to do for their own situation. Now, mind you, I know a lot of our situations are unique, and I know that there are mitigating circumstances in everybody's life. I understand that. But for us to continue to be labeled as this black victim, for us to continue to be labeled as the people who need help from government, we need help from society, we need help from white people and white America. We can't be that anymore. We can't be America's handicapped child anymore. We can't be America's victim anymore. We can't be that one group in America that people are supposed to feel sorry for. We cannot do that anymore, regardless of white supremacy, regardless of white privilege, regardless of any of that. What we need to be asking ourselves is not what people can do for us, not what we can gain from other people, not what person is going to label black people as the victim. What we need to be asking ourselves is, what are we going to do? That is the question that needs to be asked. And anyone in any situation needs to be asking themselves that question. And we as black people, we need to be asking that question. And we need to be asking it of ourselves. Because when that question gets answered, that's when progress is going to get made. Open your mind. Asking why we're in this situation is never gonna settle anything. It's never gonna resolve anything. It's never gonna achieve anything for us. But answering the question of what are we going to do will. We've asked why for half a century. Does it matter why? Cops are killing kids. Cops are killing men. Cops are killing women. Does it matter why we're killing each other in these inner cities? Does it matter why 75% of our black babies are being born out of wedlock? Does it matter why black men have a 30, 40, 50% unemployment rate? Does it matter why the schools that educate our children are substandard, below the norm? Does any of that matter why? Does it matter why we have no social or economic power? Does it matter why we have no political power? I don't hear anything. Let's stop being America's black victim. Let's stop being the people that America needs to help. And instead of doing that, what we need to be asking ourselves and everyone who looks like us is, what are we going to do? I interviewed a lady the other day on my radio show. And this lady, her daughter was killed by police. Innocent person murdered by the police, doing nothing. And this lady, she's not asking people to go out there and march for her. She's not asking people to go out there and fight for her. She's not asking people to go to the Department of Justice. She's not asking people to stand in front of City Hall and hold the police accountable and hold the district attorney accountable. No, she's doing it. She's at the Department of Justice. She's at the district attorney's office. She's at City Hall. She's doing it. She's doing the marching. You know why? Because she refuses to be a victim. She's not asking anybody to do anything for her. She's doing it herself. She's not even asking people to pray for her. When I spoke to her, you know what she said? As a matter of fact, I'll play it for you.
What do you need us to do? What do you need Living Hood Radio to do in the Proper Thought series to do? What do you need from us?
There's very specific things. I know people say your prayer, my thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers don't feed me or my grandchildren.
And you know what? I agree with her 100%. Because let me tell you something. You always hear that too. When people say, oh, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to keep you in my prayers. And most people, they ain't praying for nobody. They ain't even praying for them damn selves most of the time. That's always our easy out. When someone's in a bind, when someone's in trouble, when something's going wrong in someone's life, the first thing that comes out of one of our mouths is, we're going to pray for you. You're in our prayers. which prayer would you be talking about? The one where you say, now I lay me down to sleep, pray the Lord my soul to keep? That prayer you're keeping me in? Are you really praying for me to get a job? Are you really praying for me to get a house? Are you really praying for me to get a loan from a bank so I can start a small business? Of course you're not. Of course you're not. Because 9 times out of 10, black people don't pray for other black people anyway. Black people usually prey on black people. So that's something else that we need to stop doing. Because let me tell you something. We have been prayed for 50 years. Or should I say, we have heard people say we have been prayed for 50 years. But here we are in the same situation, same status, and in some cases, even worse off. So I ask again, what are you going to do? Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind.